What's up, True Crime World? You're here with Luminol on the Wall. I'm Bevy.
And I'm Becky. Bev, have you ever been in a long-distance relationship?
Yes, technically, yeah, I have.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was it challenging?
Yeah, it definitely is. I hate long-distance relationships. They suck.
I've never been in one, but I could imagine I wouldn't like it.
Yeah, I like being with my partner every day, pretty much. Like, yeah, I hate long-distance relationships. Fuck that shit.
Like, kudos to the people that make it work, but not for us.
No, definitely not. I think you have to be, like, highly independent. I don't know, you have to really trust your partner. You know, there's just, like, a lot of factors that go into it that I think, you know, non-long distance relationships, like, don't have to think about, so.
Oh, that's for sure. Well, I'm going to add an air of complexity to a long-distance relationship.
Okay.
Okay?
As if there weren't enough, yes.
Exactly. Okay, so imagine you're in a long-distance relationship. You travel 8 hours to see the guy. Then you go missing.
Hey.
How do you think your family would feel?
I mean, depends on who you ask. No, I'm just kidding.
Fuck that bitch. Glad she's gone.
Just kidding. No, yeah, I mean, obviously, they would be concerned for my well-being and probably think the person I went to go see was responsible.
Hands
or
down.
had something to do with it.
Well, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Although
I mean, that would be the first thing you'd think anyways.
You know what, though? For me personally, if you went missing, I have a irrational fear, somewhat rational, but also slightly irrational, that if I travel somewhere or someone I care about travel somewhere, that they're going to get sex trafficked. That actually keeps me up at night sometimes.
Interesting. Well,
so I would also wonder about that.
I mean, that is fair, but also just like to put you at ease for your sleeping, Becky, like it could very well happen here too. Like I don't have to travel for that to happen to me. It's a possibility at all times. Apparently there's like a decent human trafficking like ring in Calgary. So like
Calgary does seem to be a Canadian hub for trafficking. Yes.
Yeah. So like I am at risk at all times.
Yeah. Never mind.
That should make you sleep better. Just kidding.
Sure, it could happen at any moment.
Yeah, there you go.
Never mind traveling.
Yeah.
Well, Bev, I specifically asked this not just because it was on my mind randomly, but because this is the circumstances of today's case.
Okay.
So I want to put you in this woman's shoes, her family's shoes. So, anyways, but before we get into the case any deeper, how's our sister chat going?
Well, Becky, I have nothing to talk about.
That's good, because I actually have something to say.
Okay. Let's hear it.
All right.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
So, I had a doggy date last night with our brother and his dog, and Kristen as well. They say, hey, why don't we make some chocolate chip cookies? I said, that's a fabulous idea. Dog date and cookies for us. Love it. So, Axel says, make sure you grab 2 bags of chocolate chips. I have an idea. I'm like, oh, how bold of him. I honestly assumed Axel doesn't really cook or bake much.
Yeah.
Like the necessities. I see him cook like eggs and ground beef and rice.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like the extent of his cooking,
that
right?
Covers it. Yeah, yeah.
So I get the chocolate chips. I have some other stuff. They bring the other ingredients. We start making cookies. Axel totally just like takes over, right? That's fine because me and Kristen, we're just chilling watching the dogs play. Axel says, Becky, I need the salt. You got salt, right? I said, yeah. Go to the pantry, grab him the box of salt. Get him the teaspoon. Bev. This mofo, he opens the little metal thing and he just dumps the salt in and he's just going like, root, 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 root. And me and Kristen are watching this and he puts the salt down, starts to mix. Me and Kristen's like, I kid you not, do the slow head turn, just like the shocked stare at each other. And we, like, Axel looks at us. He's like, what? What, you think I can't bake? And I was like, well.
You're like, literally, no.
Yeah. And we burst out laughing and we're like, that's so much salt. Holy shit. And he's like, this is a teaspoon. I was like, this guy does not know what a teaspoon is.
It's like the smallest amount.
Like, I was so shocked at what he just put in these cookies. I was like, holy shit. So anyways, he's mixing everything together. We get it all. And, you try the dough. It was not too bad. Although you can taste the salt along with the sugar. So we bake the cookies. They're pretty good, I have to say.
What?
Yeah, I know. Like a little bit of hint of salt there. Okay, no biggie. It's like salty sweet cookie. Today I have one cookie, nice and cooled. Salt's a little bit more noticeable. But did I eat the cookie? Yes. Did I enjoy it? Absolutely. So it was just so funny. But I'm like, he put in like the most amount of salt you could possibly put in a cookie without it tasting terrible.
Oh my God. Well, you know what, Becky? You have some balls to be laughing at that. I gotta say, you got some big kahunas to laugh at Axel over putting too much salt
What
in
now,
shit.
Bev? Huh? What?
Well, remember that one time you were making Craig eggs and you took our salt, like our salt twister, and you're just talking away, and it's like it's one of those ones that you crank like
You
in a
grind the
circle,
salt
it's like,
and it goes on.
It's like, and she's just talking away, and me and Craig do the slow head turn to each other, like the slow look back at Becky. And meanwhile, she's still going on. It's like fucking scrambled eggs. Like, how much salt you need for scrambled eggs? Anyways, I literally had to tell her to stop.
Yes.
I was like, Becky, stop. What are you doing?
I was like, what? Why?
Anyways, they were, like, Craig could not eat them. They were
He ate
inedible.
them. He ate them. He drank a lot of water after.
He ate them out of obligation to you as his sister-in-law.
Oh, I know.
But we literally just talked about these eggs the other day. Like, that's how bad it was, Becky. Like, it's been over a year, maybe more.
Yeah.
And those eggs still come up in conversation.
Yeah. To be clear, he ate them because I cooked him breakfast in his own home. And I think he was just grateful. So he's like, thanks.
Yeah.
You know? But man, salt can really screw up a meal, can it, Bev?
Yes, it can.
Yeah. So good also.
Anyways, I gotta tell Axel that and be like,
it's not just you, buddy.
How dare she?
Hey.
How dare she laugh at you?
But in my defense, I don't normally use that salt thing ever. So I was very unaware how much was coming out on each turn. And then I got distracted while turning it. And it was very like therapeutic. And bam, salty eggs. Axel literally just went like dumpy, dumpy, dumpy with the salt box.
Yeah, that's unreal. That is unreal.
I know. I was like, you are bold, my friend. Bold.
Yeah.
He said, I eyed everything. I'm like, I watched you use a measuring cup at least for the sugar.
My God, that's nuts.
I know. But they worked, and shockingly, our brother's a good baker. I didn't expect that from him. I'm not going to lie.
So well, there you go.
You got a little competition there, bro.
Oh, pish posh applesauce.
Well,
you shut your damn mouth.
That's it. I declare
like
a bake-off between you two.
No, Becky, no. I'll wipe him under the water.
You got to give him a chance.
No.
That's okay, Axel. When you listen to this, or Kristen,
it's not happening.
There's a bake-off. I'm the officiant. There is. No. It's going to happen.
No.
Anyways, let's get into the case before our bake-off.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, let's get into the case. Yes, for sure.
All right. Today's case is about a woman named Emily Lambert. In 2014, Emily was 30 years old. She was a third-grade elementary school teacher, divorced, and a single parent of 2 wonderful daughters. Emily and her family lived in Garland, Texas. Her parents, Don and Steve, also lived there. She came from an extremely loving family, and her parents were very supportive and regularly helped her care for her daughters. Emily's friends described her as an amazing human being. She was incredibly dynamic. One day she could be outside playing sports and getting her hands all dirty, and then the next day she'd be completely dolled up and ready for a night out. One day in late 2013, Emily was on Facebook when she noticed she had a mutual friend with a man named Robert Early. He was 33 years old at the time. Emily thought she knew who he was, so she added him as a friend. And they began talking, and it turned out he wasn't the person she initially thought he was. But they seemed to connect anyways. Before long, they both attended a bonfire with friends, and in person, they hit it off immediately, and the relationship grew from there. It turned out that Emily and Robert had both attended the same high school. Robert was a little older than her, so they their paths never actually crossed. In 2013 and 14, Robert was working in the oil patch in Carlsbad, New Mexico, which meant he and Emily were in a long-distance relationship. On the weekend of February 28th, Emily planned to go visit her boyfriend in Carlsbad. She made arrangements for her daughters to spend the weekend with her parents, and after school let out on Friday, Emily drove the 400-plus miles to Carlsbad, where she met Robert at Stevens Inn. At the time, he was staying there, as his living quarters. He was waiting to find something more permanent. Now, everything was going really great. They spent Saturday visiting Carlsbad Cavern, and they just spent the day together and enjoyed each other's company. Then, in the early hours of March 2nd, Donna, who is Emily's mom, received a text from Robert asking her to call him, and she did. Robert explained that they had been having a really good time the previous day, but later that evening, they had gotten into an argument at the bar, and according to Robert, Emily became so angry that she stormed out and left. He told Donna that he hadn't seen her since. Her phone was still in his hotel room, her car was still in the parking lot, and he asked if Donna had heard from her daughter, and she hadn't.
Well, she literally left everything at his living quarters?
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds very suspicious.
It does sound suspicious. So she's MIA and mom has not heard from her.
Exactly. So she immediately urges Robert to call the police. And so he did. When he called 911, he relayed the same information to the operator. And in the recording, to be honest, it didn't really seem like he was overly worried, Bev. And maybe that have stemmed from the fact that he thought there was a chance Emily had been picked up for public intoxication. After all, they'd been at the bar drinking that evening, and maybe he just didn't want to panic or make a big deal out of it if she was just in the drunk tank. Maybe he's like, oh, man, it's probably a good possibility.
Okay, sure.
So while Robert was making his call to 911, Donna and Steve were really concerned. So they decided to pack everything up, gather their 2 grandbabies, and they hit the road for that 7 to 8 hour drive to Carlsbad. Like I said, they just had a horrible feeling that something was really wrong. Even if Emily and Robert had fought and she managed to stay somewhere else for the night, Emily would have never left without her cell phone.
Right.
It was just like the single mom rule. If you are not with your children, your cell phone is on and ready to be heard,
Absolutely.
So Detective Blaine Rennie and Detective Scott Naylor were assigned to the case right away. Now, initially, they went to the Stevens Inn and gathered the preliminary details from Robert. And almost immediately, they also felt that something was off, just like Emily's parents. They also suspected that Robert might not be being truthful.
Yeah, I honestly don't blame them for thinking that.
Yeah.
Because the cell phone piece is already suspicious enough. She stormed off angry and didn't come back for her cell phone. She left it with you. That's odd.
Yeah, I agree.
I think for any woman, especially in a place you're not familiar with, to just leave a bar. Sometimes when you're drunk, you can do crazy things, but I don't know. It all just seems odd, right? And then to not come home after or whatever. It seems odd.
Yeah.
To not have reached out to Robert or the mom.
Exactly.
It's either Robert is a big fat liar or something else terrible happened to her.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the feeling that everyone is having, right? So later that day, detectives have Robert come down to the station for a more formal interview, see if they can get any more information out of him. Now, Robert willingly met with the detectives, and he explained how he and Emily began their relationship. He told them that Emily had come to Carlsbad for a mini vacation for the weekend, and because their time was short, they only had the weekend, they wanted to make the most of it. So, like we know, they visited Carlsbad Caverns, they did some shopping, grabbed some drinks, and then headed back to the Stevens Inn. Initially, the 2 of them went to a place called Trinity's to have some drinks. Robert told detectives that while they were there, he had taken a bunch of photos of Emily. He said that she looked really sexy that night. She was wearing a short black and white dress. And he said taking photos of each other was just something they did when they were together. And he had the pictures to prove it. So, I don't understand personally why he would have told them that, but he just added it in as some interesting details. Now, eventually, they left Trinity's and went back to the hotel room. They had another drink, Then they met up with Robert's boss and some coworkers at the hotel bar, he said around 8-ish. Once they arrived, his boss bought them several rounds in a fairly short period of time. And I think we've all been there a time or two. Hey, Bevy?
Maybe more than a time or two?
Like lots of times?
Yeah, lots of times.
Too many drinks in a short amount of time. It's never
Not
good.
enough food in the stomach. Oh, God. Been there a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not saying she hasn't eaten a lot at all, but like, I just had a flashback. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think of tequila, to be honest. That's really what I... Like, how many shots can you do in 5 minutes? Fortunately, so many.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
That's how I ended up naked in a resort. Yeah. Like, literally. Okay. Thank God I was with my mom. She really took care of me. Like, literally. She's like, Beth, like my pants and my bathing suits off. She's like, oh my God.
She's just watching her daughter strip in the middle of the resort.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember the whole day. It was our last day there. I woke up at like whatever time in the morning. Was awake for like an hour. Gone.
Tequila. So
either way, obviously, they're he's at least telling the detectives that he's setting up the scene to be like, we were hammered.
Yeah.
We were drunk as fuck, actually.
Yeah. So after having a bunch of rounds, they began playing pool, they were dancing, and they were just having a real good time, you know? We know how it is. And at one point, Emily excused herself to go to the bathroom. You know, that's a normal thing to do. But when she came back, she told Robert that a random man had been hitting on her and said to her, if he's not taking care of you good, I'll take you home.
Creepy.
That's creepy.
Creepy as fuck.
But if that happened to you at a bar and you're with Craig, you'd be like, oh my God, guess what this guy just said to me, right?
Yeah, totally.
Like, oh my God,
yeah.
I'm looking so good tonight, don't you think?
No.
No, it's not. Anyways.
No, I'd just be like, ew. Ew.
Oh.
God.
Man.
He's taking care of me just fine. Bye.
Yeah, I mean, that too. Yes. Come on, we've talked about this before, even on the podcast. You know what? Even if it's like a creepy compliment, like to some degree, you're like, I still got it. Even if you're like, ugh.
Yeah, I just think, you know what the thing about this one, though, is it's just a little bit too assumptive for me.
Yeah.
It depends. Like being like, you're looking good. That guy's lucky. I'd be like, yeah.
He is.
But it's like, if he's not taking care of good, I'll take you home. It's like,
what makes you think he's not taking care of me good?
And what makes you think I'd go home with you? Sorry.
That's it is a terrible line. Like, it wouldn't work on me.
It's a terrible line.
Yeah.
No, but either way, I talk about it for sure.
Yeah, no matter what.
Yeah, totally.
So initially, Robert said he just brushed it off and told Emily that, you know, this town and especially this bar was full of rig workers who were either single and lonely or married and lonely, and that she needed to watch out because they're all fucking horny.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, is what he told her.
I mean, the comment of that person tracks with that.
Yeah, right?
Seems a little horny for sure.
Exactly.
Yep.
So the night continued, and they just also were continuing to have a good time. Now, witnesses later said that Robert and Emily were seen hugging and kissing throughout the evening, and they appeared happy. Robert was also seen several times standing like right behind Emily while she was bent over playing pool. But I think he was just being the good Samaritan so that no one would see, you know, her undercarriage while she was bent over playing pool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
The goodies, you know?
Yep.
Not my goodies.
Got it.
My goodies.
I mean, honestly, undercarriage painted a picture, Becky.
Oh.
But goodies is good too, I suppose.
You fully understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Fabulous. Good. Okay. So then Robert told the police that Emily continued to get hit on through the night and repeatedly mentioned to him what that man had said earlier about taking her home if Robert didn't treat her right. Now, I don't know if she was repeating it. Like, we weren't there. We only have his word to speak on that. So eventually, Robert said that he had enough of hearing about that and told Emily, whatever, Emily, if that's what you want, go ahead and go. Like, go with that guy. If you're going to keep bringing it up, do what you want, basically, right? Now, according to Robert, when he said that, this wasn't the response that Emily was looking for. He said Emily replied, "Fuck you, I'm leaving." And she did. Now, to us non-drunk folks, that sounds a little ridiculous, I think. But you know what? When you're drunk, those ridiculous comments, or not ridiculous comments, but the like silly things that we wouldn't think anything of while being sober, sometimes hit you hard.
They hit different.
Yeah.
They hit
They hurt
different
your
for
feelings
sure.
when normally it wouldn't, or makes you feel
Yeah.
less than when it wouldn't. Shit like that. So Robert then told the detectives that he thought Emily was just going outside for a smoke to cool off. And he thought that she would just come back. But she didn't. He then thought she had probably just gone back to the hotel room. So a little while later, he left the bar as well. He said he returned back to the room sometime between 11:40 p.m. and 12:20 a.m. But Emily wasn't there. Now, the problem with this is that besides her just not being there, was that earlier in the evening, Emily had left her phone in the room to charge because her phone had died from all their excursions and, things they had done, I guess. And when Robert returned to the hotel room, the cell phone was still there. Because of that, Robert started to think that Emily hadn't come back to the room at all. And instead, he thought she had gone off with one of the men who had been hitting on her at the bar.
Okay, well, I mean, this kind of gives a more plausible explanation as to why she didn't have her phone and why Robert had it.
Yeah.
I guess. But then it still leaves the question, like, would a single mom leave her phone to even charge, and go out for the night without it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but it's like he's trying to provide a reasonable explanation for him having her phone. And I gotta say, like, it's not the worst explanation.
No.
Maybe it's real. Maybe it's fake. I don't know. But, like, it is kind of believable.
For sure. Do you know how many times I've left my phone at home? Like going grocery shopping because it's
same.
like dead and
Same.
Jamie brings his.
Same.
There it is.
Becky,
Easy,
same.
right? So we've all
Yeah.
been in that situation once or twice or several, and now she is too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, by this point, the detectives had a starting point and knew where to begin looking. And they started searching for evidence, surveillance footage, witnesses from Saturday night. So while they're looking and doing their job, the news of Emily's disappearance had already spread to her friends back home in Texas. Her best friend Angie started a Facebook page called Finding Emily. In addition, Angie and other friends began calling businesses in Carlsbad and the surrounding areas, asking if they would be willing to put up a missing person flyer for Emily in their establishments, and most were more than willing to help. So Angie and her friends just started emailing the flyers to these businesses, and then they would print them, hang them up. So this allowed for like a real quick distribution of her face and the fact that she was now missing, which actually sounds like so logical. I was thinking as I heard that, I was like, does this happen all the time now? Or do people literally go door to door handing out flyers? Or it makes it sound like a flyer, like a store flyer, but like missing person flyers.
Yeah.
Posters.
I think it's totally logical.
Right?
I guess the only benefit of providing the flyer yourself of the missing person is that the burden of like creating the flyer is not on the establishment, because maybe some establishments like might think, they want to help, but like, it's just an extra step.
Yeah.
That might make that flyer not get put up in the window. That's the only thing I could see.
For sure.
But honestly, I think it's a pretty good idea. If you went missing in a different state, like I would be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Lord knows it. So
yeah, like here's the picture printed off, put in your window. And like the good thing is I feel like a lot of businesses, when it's like this person is missing or they were taken or something, people
do it.
React.
Yeah,
and
totally.
take action, right? So that's the good thing.
Yeah.
But
it's true.
Honestly, I had, in any case that we've covered so far, I had not heard of a single one distributing missing person posters through email.
Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome, actually.
Right?
Like they're kind of thinking outside the box, and it's cool that she has such good friends that are willing to kind of go above and beyond to help find her. I think that's epic.
Exactly. And especially like being so far away, not everyone can just uproot their whole life and go, right?
Yeah.
Like, what if she was in the drunk tank? I mean, I feel like the police would have told her family, but what if? Anyways, as we said, this is amazing. And it also is very helpful for the police and detectives because it allows them to just be able to focus on the bigger details of what's going on, right? They know they have a trustworthy unit doing the legwork. So as the police searched, and they found several witnesses that remembered seeing Emily and said they never saw Emily leave with anyone or get into a vehicle when she left the bar. However, some people did see Robert interacting with her, and the word that witnesses used was that Robert was scolding her. So we have some witnesses that saw them being all lovey-dovey, and then we have other witnesses that saw a more negative interaction. So on top of him scolding her, they said he grabbed her by the back of the neck, put his finger in her face, and shook her. So
nope. That's a nope for me.
Yep,
My God.
that is a no for me, dog. So obviously there's a huge difference between witnesses and what they saw and their interactions that evening. So because of this situation, detectives decided to contact Robert's ex-wife and an ex-girlfriend just to see, like, what is he really like? Was this just him being like a drunken mess and jealous? Or
does he have like a violent controlling streak?
Exactly. So separately, both women told detectives that Robert had a violent nature about him, and they had experienced it themselves. So obviously, investigators found this information very interesting, especially because after speaking with Robert, they already felt that his story seemed very rehearsed and something was really off about it. So because of that, detectives decided to speak with Robert yet again. This time, they asked him directly whether he had ever been violent towards any of his previous partners. Robert said no and stated that he had never been arrested for beating someone up, which, Bevy?
Doesn't mean you didn't do it.
Exactly.
Like, you know?
Yeah, like, interesting way to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you said, just because you didn't get arrested didn't mean you do it, you know? Do you know how many people never report abuse that happened? And their partners are, like, ultra-violent sometimes, you know? So I just found that that was the interesting way to say it.
That's like a little loophole.
Yep.
Where I can be kind of honest.
But not admit a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, investigators also asked Robert what his gut feeling was in regards to, like, what has happened to Emily. And he said that, honestly, he thinks she got involved with some wrong people and that she's either hurt or trapped or somebody's got her and not letting her go. So I find that kind of interesting, Bev. What are your thoughts on what his thoughts are?
I mean, I feel like that's what, like, I don't know. I think it's kind of like he's articulating the fact that something bad could have happened to her. I feel like a lot of people kind of already are thinking that. So I don't necessarily think he's relaying information that the average person wouldn't relay.
I agree.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think there's nothing, like, wild about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think that's something he'd have to say to the police because that's what it looks like.
Yeah. It does seem like that, right?
Yep.
So police then asked Robert if he would be willing to take a polygraph test. And he completely agreed with, like, no hesitation. And the test was administered the following day, on March 4th. While in the room, before the test had begun, Robert told the investigators and the polygraph administrator that his nerves were totally shot from everything going on.
Why? Why would your nerves be shot?
Why would your nerves be shot?
An interesting thing to say. He's just prefacing, I might fail this test, so. But it's just my nerves.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like.
Yeah. I'm just, like, so stressed out.
As if they can't see through that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, he's looking more and more guilty in my eyes right now.
Yeah, way to go, Robert.
Like, it's just similar with everything he's kind of said. Like, he is setting the stage to, like, prove his innocence or to explain away details that kind of don't add up.
Yeah.
And I guess it's no different when it comes to the polygraph test, right? Like, he wants to look innocent, but also feels the need to explain certain things that look a little sketchy. Like the cell phone. Like, why do you have it?
Cell phone.
Right?
Yeah. Well, no shocker here. He failed the polygraph test.
Yeah.
And, like, you know how some people's, like, inconclusive, which is like, are you guilty? Do you know what happened? No, he just failed it. Now, Robert asked and insisted on taking another test because he just didn't understand how he could possibly fail this one. But they didn't let him. And despite the results, Robert continued to maintain that he had only had an argument with Emily and had nothing to do with her disappearance. So, as I sit here right now, Bev, and I'm sure as you're sitting there right now, it's seeming like Robert knows a little more than he's letting on, right?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
for sure. I'd be shocked if he wasn't, in fact, responsible for the reason why she is missing.
Exactly. And I think it's pretty obvious to everyone because detectives are feeling the same way. They are fairly certain that he's responsible for Emily's disappearance. But besides this feeling and a failed polygraph test, they have no evidence suggesting that. They even found surveillance footage showing Emily leaving the bar around 11:30 and Robert leaving about 20 minutes later, and that was it. So that even matches with what Robert's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Now, by this point, they're sick of just hearing what Robert is saying. They know that he has more to say, and so they continue their interview and they start becoming a bit more aggressive and direct with their questioning. Now, we've seen it several times in other cases when officer and detectives do this, that it starts to add more pressure. And this is when Robert's story begins to shift, along with many other cases, right? Now, he now stated that he had seen Emily get into a vehicle. He described it as a white extended cab truck with monster tires and rockstar wheels, which for anyone who don't know is just like a brand, kind of a custom brand design. And Robert said that this truck belonged to the man Emily had been talking to at the bar.
You mean the guy that's the creepy thing?
Yeah, the creep. Now, investigators immediately called him out and said they believe this was some half-ass bullshit.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. One of the detectives told Robert that typically they dealt with two kinds of people in this situation. The first kind is where an accident happened and they got scared and maybe tried to hide a body or something like that. And the second kind of person was just a monster. Robert took a moment, kind of thought about what he said, and responded by saying, "I'm not a monster."
Ooh.
Which, hey,
so
Bev,
then
if you...
did an accident happen and you got scared? Is that what you're saying then?
Right?
Because when you
if
say,
you're...
like, that doesn't apply to me at all, like, neither of those.
Yeah, like, I don't even know what happened to her if you're innocent, right?
Yeah.
So, obviously, by saying that, he's opened up a whole new can of worms, right?
Oh, yeah.
And Robert began to explain that when he came out of the bar, he saw Emily get into this man's truck. He said he ended up pulling out the same way he saw the man leave and followed him. According to Robert, the man pulled into a rural property. But by the time he got there, pulled over, Emily had barely any clothes on. Robert said he honked his horn and the man came running at him with a pipe. Emily then, pretty much naked, jumped in front of him and bam! He hit her right in the head.
Sorry. I'm
Bev!
so sorry, but like, I need to be clear. I am not laughing at the fact that he's just basically admitted that, maybe Emily is actually dead. That is fucked up.
Yes.
But his story on what happened is so ludicrous. Like, I can't help but just like chuckle a bit. Like, what the fuck? Are you really claiming this? Like,
it seems
this
ridiculous,
is insane.
right?
No, like, I'm shocked. That was a shocked laugh. I'm sorry. I literally am just like, what the fuck is he talking about? That's insane.
To be honest, like, I kind of get why it like does sound so ridiculous, right? Because all I can picture is like, in The Hangover, when Mr. Chow jumps out of the trunk and he's naked and his little wiener's in the guy's face and he starts smacking him because they took him and hit him in a trunk for like a day or two. That is like almost what I picture because it seems so ridiculous. Also, keep in mind at this point, like Robert is hammered. Like, why did he drive there? Like, why not call the police? Or like, there's so many things he could have done. Anyways, I guess he doesn't know the man's intention, but anyways, after he saw this man hit her in the head, Robert said he then got back in his car and burned out of there. He left.
Okay, so like even if this were true, which I don't believe it is at all.
No, I don't think so either.
Like at all, like that's like bullshit, by the way. But like one, if it was true, like you're just an absolute coward. Like you just saw your girlfriend, like I don't know if she was getting raped and that's why she didn't have clothes on. or what, but then you just saw her get smashed in the head by this guy and you took off running. Like, it doesn't paint you in a very good light anyways, but like, yeah, like that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. You did absolutely nothing. Like, you could have done one of several things and you did nothing.
Yeah, like you literally, if this was true, did not protect her at all. And if it's true, she jumped in front of a crazed man with a pipe to save you from, just getting hit or something. I don't even know.
And you just let her take it and
you
do
just
nothing.
you just left her there at, at the whim of this crazed individual. So if it were true, you're just an absolute piece of shit anyways. But doubtful it's true. And the saddest thing about his story is, that he's admitting to seeing Emily get hurt. And because we know a lot of times with people who are guilty of something, they tell half truths, to mask the ultimate truth. And I think maybe that's what we're seeing here, where he's like providing a reason why Emily could have died. Not by him. Not by him. But like,
nope.
The fact is that I think he is saying that basically she's dead, which is really, really sad.
Yeah, definitely in a roundabout way. So after hearing this story, detectives just have so many questions. The first being, like how I said, why didn't you call 911 right away?
Yeah.
And then the second question, as you said, God, you're so intuitive, is are they only getting half a story?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
However, what they did feel is that this version of events was closer to the truth.
Yeah.
And they figured that Robert most likely knows where Emily is. So,
yeah,
police asked Robert if he could take them to the house that he had been talking about. And he directed them to a location about 3 miles off Loving Highway on Potash Mines Road. And there was a house sitting on a hill. It had barns and sheds around it. And the investigators got out of the car and began looking around the property. And pretty quickly, they noticed what appeared to be drag marks starting in the driveway. They followed them around an old tin building, and as they came around the corner, they could clearly see a body just ahead.
Oh no.
When they got closer, there was a large amount of blood, and it was highly concentrated around the head. They could also clearly see tattoos on the body, and they were very distinctive to Emily. And in that moment, they knew this was Emily Lambert.
Oh man, that's devastating.
Yeah, right? Now, this is probably where it sucks to be a detective or a police officer, anyone that has to do with like first responding type stuff, because they had to make the heartbreaking call to Emily's parents, Steve and Donna. What makes this news even more devastating is that just 2 years earlier, Emily and her parents had lost her brother in a vehicle accident. So now they have no children that are living.
Oh my God.
Like, talk about just family tragedy, you know?
Oh my gosh, Becky.
I know.
That would be heartbreaking.
I know.
I mean, like, it's enough to lose one child, but like within years, like losing all of your children that you birthed into this world or raised to two tragic, tragic events. Like, oh my gosh, my heart goes out to their family.
Yeah. Because, like, first of all, like, what are the chances, right, that like two big tragedies would happen to one family? Like, what are the chances? But now they are recovering or grieving. I don't know if recovering is eventually people recover from grief, but, you know, they've lost a lot in a short amount of time, is what I'm saying, I guess. So at the scene, detectives then told Robert that they had found Emily and she was dead. And to be honest, he seemed pretty unfazed and just continued smoking. So they eventually brought Robert back to the station and they decided to change it up a bit and they sent in a different detective. His name was Detective Sanchez and he was going to question Robert again. They wanted maybe like some fresh ears, fresh tactics, stuff like that. See what else he would tell him. So Detective Sanchez took a different approach. And he really attempted to like just humanize himself. You know, he's not a detective. He's just another human that likes to have some drinks, likes to have women, you know, just normal guy stuff, I guess. He told Robert that he understood how alcohol can escalate fights and said he'd seen plenty of situations like that before, even in his own life. So eventually, as they were talking, Robert seemed to let his guard down a bit. And he asked if they could go for a smoke and said if they could, afterward, he would spill everything. So Detective Sanchez agreed. Now, clearly, Detective Sanchez is a seasoned detective because before he went in to speak with Robert, he had put a recording device in his pocket just in case, which happened to be a really good call because before they even left the interview room, Robert began speaking. This is what he said before they left. Emily can get, she's so headstrong, and she's bigger than any other girl I've been with, and a lot stronger. Which, Bevy, I'm not gonna lie, hearing him say that, it just like pissed me off. I was like, really? You're commenting on her body? Like, I know she's strong and like athletic, but I was like, God, she's missing and she's dead. Well, she's not missing anymore. She's dead at this point. And you say that? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, were you literally just looking for sex from her? Like, what were you doing? Because obviously, if someone mentions it, they've thought about it, you know? It just like irritated me to hear him say that. I was just like, God damn, you bitch. I was mad. So, anyways, that's kind of a side note, but it angered me. Anyways, once outside, Robert told Detective Sanchez that he had kicked her with his steel toe boot, and he thought she was out. And at that point, he was freaking out and just really didn't know what to do. So that was kind of a vague scenario. So
yeah, like at what point did you kick her? Like what like how was she in a position for you to even kick her?
right, like
I definitely need to hear more about that.
exactly. So after hearing this vague summary of what potentially happened, Detective Sanchez takes him back into the interrogation room. And Robert carried on explaining that they had started arguing at the bar, like he said before. It wasn't anything big. It was like he had mentioned earlier that another man told Emily if Robert wasn't treating her right, he would take her home. Robert said after she mentioned it several times, he told her whatever, if that's what you want, and Emily responded, fuck you, and left, right? And as we know, Robert also ended up leaving the bar a little while later and went back to the hotel room. Now, this is where the story completely changes, Bev. When Robert got back to the room, Emily was there and told him she was getting her things and leaving, and that they were done. She was leaving him. He said Emily wanted to take her car and drive home, but they were both drunk and he wasn't going to let her leave, saying it was for safety reasons. Now, according to Robert, this is what started the major altercation in the room. While Emily was trying to leave, they kind of got into a pushing match. At one point, he felt her grab his arm and bite him. He showed the detective the bruising and the puncture marks on his skin from the bite. He said when he got bit, he kind of yanked his arm back and flew back, hit his head against the wall, and fairly hard. He then got up, hit Emily. He said he kicked her in the mouth, but Emily managed to get up after that. But he got her back down on the ground and he said he just went crazy and kicked her in the face again. He said after that assault, Emily began breathing strangely, like she was unconscious, and he really just didn't know what to do. So he put her in his car and drove her out to this property on Potash Mines Road, where her body was later found. He explained once he got there, Emily woke up and started going after him again. And that's when he grabbed a tire air pump and began hitting her with it in the head. He then grabbed a large piece of rope, tied it around her neck like a noose, put the other end in the car door, and used the car to drag her behind that metal shed.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Brutal, right?
That is so fucked up, Becky.
I know.
Oh my God. I can't even handle that. Like, I am shocked because, you know, everything he says is like, oh, it's just an accident. Like, we think back to what the police officers had said to him. And it was like, either in these situations, we have, you know, someone got drunk and it was an accident, or someone's just a monster. And he says, I'm not a monster. And, you know, everything up to this point is kind of saying, like, yeah, like, it could have been, like, I got way too drunk, we got in an altercation, things got out of hand, and I did end up killing her, that type of thing. But when you hear this part of what he does with her body after, you know, he hits her over and over again, like, this is a monster. Like, who could do that and not stop? Like, why wouldn't you stop and think, what the fuck am I doing? You know, and to like tie a noose thing around her neck to drag her body behind his vehicle. Like, I can't. That's so fucked up.
It is,
Like,
right?
yeah. Like, no, sir, you are, in fact, a fucking monster.
A monster.
Oh, man, Becky.
Now, at the crime scene, the drag marks were clearly visible in the dirt. And we know this because that's how they actually found her body, right?
Right.
Now, they could clearly see where he had tied her up. And from that point, the drag marks extended approximately 510 feet and ended where Emily was left. So, as I'm learning this, when I'm doing my research, Bev, my initial thought was drag marks, right? Or when I heard drag marks was that he had to drag her out from the middle of the road, right? Like off to the side somewhere, just so she's not in like complete
Yeah.
open visibility.
Right. To kind of like hide its crime a little bit. Yeah. But then you must have looked up like how, like exactly the distance of 510 feet, because that's seems like a fuck ton of distance, right?
Yeah, it is bigger than a football field.
Holy fuck, Becky. Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, I do understand that that would be a long distance to drag someone yourself. It would be a lot of effort. But the fact that he thought to use his vehicle is just so fucked up.
The fact that he could like do that. Like the fact that he could actually go through with that and actually do it. Like I can't. Like that's so fucking crazy.
Yep. Now, the following day, Robert took detectives back to the crime scene to show them where he left Emily's clothes and the tire pump and the rope used to drag her. So he had thrown it off to the side. I couldn't find like exact details as to where, but it was somewhere around there. So he had enough wherewithal to hide that stuff, you know? Which I feel like in a major drunken rage, if you're that drunk, that might not be your first priority is to hide that evidence, right? Now, Emily's autopsy determined that she died from blunt force trauma to the head. At the time that she was dragged, she was still alive.
Oh my God.
And it's believed that after dragging her, Robert struck her several more times with that air pump until she died. So it's like she had the fight in her to like live through that first half of the brutality. And then he's like, you know what? This is done. No more. You're hidden. Now you can die. When Emily was found, she was only wearing a bra and had been laying face down. Her fatal injuries were extensive and completely barbaric. Let's be real, right?
Yeah, totally.
But on top of that, she also had lots of scratches and bruising that were all conducive to being dragged. And all these scratches and bruising is actually what made the medical examiner believe that she was still alive because they were bleeding, bruising happened. And so that's what made them believe she was still alive while she was dragged out there. So obviously now they have this big confession, right?
Right.
And about 2 weeks later, on March 14th, 2014, Robert Early was arrested and charged with kidnapping with intent to kill, first-degree murder, and tampering with evidence. He was given a $1 million bond, which he could not pay. And the district attorney's office sought life in prison without parole, and to all these charges, Robert pled not guilty.
Oh no, God. Then her family. Oh my God. Becky, that devastates me. Because, like, literally, like, as you're going through this case, like, my jaw was on the floor multiple times with the details of this case and, like, hearing what Emily went through. And for her family to have to live through that during a trial because this coward couldn't even plead fucking guilty after confessing to it, leading them to her body, like, I don't know, that just, like, really pisses me off, actually.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I just think if you're going to confess to a crime, like, just plead guilty. Like, why put everyone through the pain of a trial, you know? Like, why do that? I don't I don't understand that mentality at all
Mhm.
because it hurts everyone, you know?
Yeah, well, if you're a monster, you don't really care about anyone's feelings.
That is true. Now, what's really terrible about having to go through the trial, Bev, is that some new information came out in trial that was not yet known to Emily's family and friends. So, during the trial, it came out that Robert had accidentally called Emily's phone while it was in his pocket. I don't know like the specifics like where they were when this call was made. I don't know. However, with how lucid Emily seemed, I personally believe that it was in the hotel room still.
Before that, like after she had left the bar?
Yeah, after she had left the bar, but before
Ah,
she had gone unconscious.
right, right.
And this pocket dial recorded Emily's last words while she was alive. They were, "I hate you. Never, never again. Get away from me." Now, when I heard this recording, although it was short, it made me feel like Robert still wasn't 100% being truthful with what happened in that hotel room, because those words make me think, like if I put myself in her shoes at that moment, that he did something fucking awful to me and I'm like, get away from me. You will never do that to me again. Get the F away is how I would feel. With the tone that she used, that's exactly what it felt like.
Well, you know what? Like, think back to the bar, and what some of the witnesses shared is that he grabbed her by the back of the neck, was sticking his finger in her face, like shaking her. Like, that's an invasion of her personal space. It's disrespectful to her as a human being. And he was obviously jealous of this guy who had made a comment to her
Mm-hmm.
in the bathroom. Whether she mentioned it once, 4 times, whatever, he obviously was like jealous about it,
I think
you
so,
know?
yeah.
So you pair those incidences like that people saw happen and from his own words, and then you hear what she said, and you're like, he was probably going off the walls
Yeah,
and like, you know, being fucked up towards her for
for
sure.
sure. My first instinct, although this is just me speculating, my first instinct is that he hit her and she was like, fuck you, I'm leaving now. You will never hit me ever again. That was my initial instinct.
Yeah.
Just
I
my
mean,
instinct, though.
and you pair it with like he's not letting her leave, which from a well-intended person, I do understand not wanting someone to drink and drive. I do
Yes.
understand that.
Yep.
But also you could facilitate somebody leaving, like your hotel. If she was drunk and wanted to leave, you could call a cab. You could get her a safe way to leave your area without like forcing her to stay in the hotel where she didn't feel good, where you were obviously having an altercation with her.
Hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, I just think like his actions that we know of or that witnesses have seen are already fucked up. So it makes sense why she's saying, like, never again, like, get away from me.
Exactly. Now, the one thing that I was curious about this whole time was, why was she found naked?
I know.
Right?
I know. I thought that too.
The one thing I do want to be clear about is that with the trial transcripts I was able to find and all the charges, there was never any talk of any sexual assault. So I think hearing that she was caught, or not caught, when he walked in, maybe she was changing into some like cozy clothes or her pajamas, and that altercation happened right away.
Right.
That's the only thing I can think of, because I was like, oh my God, did he assault her? But nothing in the autopsy. So just had to clear that up in case anyone was thinking the same thing I was.
Yeah, I was thinking that for
Okay.
sure.
So, I mean, at the very least, he did not do that.
Okay, well,
Either way, he's still terrible. So,
yeah, fucking awful.
yeah, after the trial, Robert Early was found guilty on all charges, and he was sentenced to life in prison with no parole. So, regardless if he wasn't 100% truthful on those details, he got his day in court and he will be spending the rest of his life in jail. Now, let's go back to the family, because they just suffered like their second loss, as we said, and they have these 2 little girls they got to take care of as well. So
Right. Her daughters. Oh.
after everything, Donna and Steve ended up holding a luncheon in memory of Emily. Her favorite color was green, and everyone wore it. And Emily's daughters were able to meet and get to know the investigators who helped solve their mother's murder. It wasn't the initial outcome they wanted. They wanted their mom home, but like at the very least, they met the people who cared enough to at least solve this crime, you know? Emily's youngest daughter now plays softball, just like she did when she was younger. And Emily's family knows that she would be so proud of both her daughters and who they are and where they are today. Now, obviously, we don't know Emily, just like many of our other victims that we speak of, but it was so clear hearing her family and friends speak about her as to how much she was loved by just so many people. And she clearly left a lasting impact on everyone who knew her. Many of her loved ones ended up getting Lucky 23 tattoos in her memory. Lucky was Emily's nickname because, well, typically she was lucky in life. And on top of that, her favorite number was 23. And so a bunch of her friends and family just have like Lucky 23 tattooed. One girl pointed to her wrist, and you know, because they want Emily to be with them forever. That's how amazing she was, you know?
Yeah, I think anytime you lose someone you love, right? Like, you want to remember the good and remember the impact they left on you and people around them. And I think that's exactly what they're doing. And I think that's amazing.
It's definitely a great reminder and like something that stays with you forever. So you will never forget that person ever. And I think that was so special that several of her loved ones did that. It wasn't just like one, it was several.
Yeah, that's super sweet.
Yeah. So, Bev, this was a case of Emily Lambert. And although we highlighted some really gruesome details, I feel really blessed that we're able to also highlight how much love everyone had for her and how much love she gave to everyone else. And I just know that her daughters are in amazing hands being raised by their grandparents because they raised Emily, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that they know how much their mom loved them because as like complete strangers who didn't know her, I got a sense of how much she loved her daughters. And I hope that they feel that every day for the rest of their lives.
I really hope so too.
Yeah. So, Bev, with that being said, I want to thank you for listening to this case. And
Thank you for sharing.
I love you hugely.
I love you hugely.
And we love all of you hugely as well. And thanks for being here with us. And till next time.
And just your weekly reminder to download our weekly episodes, follow us on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever streaming platform you listen to us on, and give us a follow on our social medias. You can find us at Luminol on the Wall. Can't wait till next week.